Hey Panda Tribe, it's Lula. Blessed new moon, blessed new moon. We have a nice little symbol here for our I almost said blue moon, our new moon. I've been having a really hard time putting this show together, and just a little while ago I was like blaming my husband. It's so wild to say that out loud. He's sleeping, but that was wild. I'll get to that in a minute. But I found myself, like, I've been having these little temper tantrums for the last few days because I've wanted to do so many things and just things have not been aligning the way I want them to. And this super moon, this super new moon, just the energy was just like tugging at me and tugging at my heartstrings. And yesterday, or a few days ago, I was drawn to this reading that I found on Instagram. And I was like, it was a 5-card tarot spread, and I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Like, I knew when it fell into my path, like it was meant to be. It was like one of those things, you know, where you're like, oh yeah, I have to do that. Like, I didn't even read the questions. I just knew. So Ed and I ended up doing it for each other. I pulled for him, he pulled for me. Well, we pulled for ourselves, but we read for each other and interpreted each other. It was really cool. Actually, we did this really cool thing, and I'll show you guys when we do it, but anyway, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going on. So this is a real talk / new moon reading. And it's actually almost like a pick-a-pile in a way because it's 5 cards. And as I was setting this up, I heard this one song by John Lennon, and I always say to Spirit, like, the first song, you know, is going to be the theme or whatever. And then I always double check, and it's always right. I don't know why I double check. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's a 3D thing I've got to get rid of. Or I need to release, right? Ooh, thank you. I'm doing that now. I claim it. I'm releasing that. I claim it. Oh, I'm releasing that. That's what we need, a lot of, like, hell yeah, you know, like, hell yeah today. But anyway, I just started to, like, have all these, like, breakthrough moments. Like, the second I heard that song, I was like, okay. And then I heard the next song, and then by the third song I was like, oh my gosh. So each card, so it's a 5-card spread, but each card has its own song, like, so those will be the themes I heard. So, you know, this is going to be a new moon, super moon, Panda Tribe reading, real talk, pick-a-pile, all in one. You can watch the whole thing. You can watch, you know, whatever you're drawn to, but I'll put tabs down below, timestamps or whatever. Anyway, I've just been struggling so hard, you guys. Like, some of my addictions are just so much harder than I thought. And it's weird because they're addictions that I really seriously, genuinely thought I was done with. But I realized that certain things that I wasn't dealing with were coming out in other ways. And over the last few months, like, I've just been challenged in so many ways. I've decided, instead of saying tested, because I don't know, maybe it's just my, you know, my own thing from, like, maybe when I was younger, tests, you know, made me feel stressed out or whatever, and so I automatically go to this, like, I'm stressed out, you know. I don't. Well, hello. Hello. Would you like to speak? Okay, we're listening. Oh, fuck. Okay, is it once for yes, twice for no? I mean, I'm starting to feel like my old, you know, knock, you know, whatever. Okay, we're just gonna see where that goes. Maybe they just want to say, hey, you guys, I'm here. So let's just go there, right? I call upon your higher self, my higher self. I call upon our spirit guides, our animal guides, the ancestors, the angels, the archangels, the gods and goddesses, their benevolent creator, all of those who wish to be here, from the Galactic Council to everything, everyone, every part of us that is here for the greatest and highest good of the collective. You are welcome here. welcome. I also invoke the power of Reiki energy into my blood, into my bones, into my body, into my soul. Yes, yes. And also, I'm sending it to you guys. Can you feel it? Breathe in good energy. Breathe out that which no longer serves you. Back into the ether, back to love. Breathe in white light healing energy. Breathe out that which no longer serves you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you to all my shamans for all of the languaging that you've given me. All the gurus. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. They set this up, by the way. Do you see this lighting and everything? I mean, I know it's not the best lighting, but now I know why. I have a light there, a light there, a light there. And that was a trip and a half. So, the container is open. It is secure. Thank you for being here. Also, they'd like me to call out the archangels. Raphael of the east, Michael from the south, Gabriel from the west, Uriel from the north, Metatron, Christ Grid, Consciousness, Sandalphon, Crystalline Grid, as above, so below. You know, it's interesting. So many of these archangels I've been working with forever, and then I started like listening to Steve Noble, and I'm like, I know I talk about him all the time, but it's just because, you know, with so many things that are going on, and the archangels are here, we're all here, it's all set up, they're like, you're good. But they just wanted you all to be like aware of like their presence and that they're here. And, you know, this is like go big or go home time. But I feel like I'm drawn to Steve Noble because they're one of the last people I feel in my soul is really divinely like trying to make a humongous impact on the planet. And I mean, I know a lot of light workers are, and I don't know them, but my energy that I get from them is like a pure channel, and there are very few pure channels. And because there are so many light workers and star seeds that have been here, some have been here since like the first wave, the real big first wave, like in the 60s. And I've been seeing a lot of misleading information. It's interesting. Spirit has been like pulling me to a lot of misleading information, and I'm going to say it like that because that's what it feels like to me. Okay, I'm always talking from my own level of consciousness. I'm always talking about my own experiences, so take from it what you want, leave behind what you don't. But in this instance, I feel like a lot of people have lost their integrity, and there's a lot of anger and comeuppance and you owe me, and you know, there's just this anger, and I've been feeling it really strongly for several weeks, which is why I had to keep stepping away from social media. And then I find myself crawling back in again, like it's like an addiction, you know, and it really pumps my other addictions as well, and it's like a driving force. So right now, while we're in the shadows, right, we're in like this dark moon energy. I'm literally doing this on the dark moon, and on this dark supermoon, and I'm trying to be as transparent as I possibly can with you guys. But I mean, I had a hard time pulling this together. I wanted to do it for a while, but I think it's because I kept trying to like come correct, you know, like I didn't want to come on here bitching or complaining or crying. And then, you know, my spirit guides were like, but that's what you're here for. That's why people always love you so much, because you're being yourself. And I feel like the more I'm trying to be something that I'm not, I'm failing at that, because it's not who I'm supposed to be, right? But there's also like this weird shakeup of like one side's like this kind of kumbaya, and this other side is like this like anger, whatever. And you know, everybody's choosing, you know, whatever they need. And even though some people feel this great victory, you know, with the new president, it's like there's still going to be disgruntlement, and it's like it's not like they're just going to like go back under their hoods and, you know what I mean, you know what I'm talking about, you know? They're not going to go away. And this is long, it's like today I had a really beautiful reading with a sister witch, and you know, we were talking about that. It's like, you know, so many truths are being revealed and uncovered, and I think it's really difficult for some people. It's like for anybody, right? Like, you don't want to say, oh, I've been following X, Y, and Z all my life, or I've believed in this all of my life, or I've always believed in this, right? This kind of thing. Like, I have had this attachment to this thing, this God, or this belief system, or whatever. But when our belief system is put before us and we see the false gods, we see the falseness of it, we saw the signs, or we saw that, you know what I mean? But we didn't want to see it for what it is. And that's any relationship, right? That's family, that's friends. It's like, it's more than just our religion or our politics or what we believe in or whatever. It's like, now we're being challenged every day to like wake up and say like, okay, what is my world like here? What can I do to change this? And for myself, my food addiction has been this. It's interesting. It's a conundrum, really, because I love food. I love making food. I love everything about food. I think food is amazing. And when I'm in like my really good food place, I'm so happy and life is good. But then I get bored, or I'm overworked, or I'm over whatever, and you know, it takes a lot of work to sometimes I'll make multiple things in one day, and we're in a 26 by 10 foot tiny home, and I have two burners, you know what I mean? I have a tiny little, you know, oven. I mean, it's like a, you know, what are those make a bake, or what do you call those bake ovens? Easy bake ovens. I was like, I had one. You know, I mean, it's not very big, but we make do, right? But I find myself cooking and baking almost every day or all the time. And so sometimes I just get so like fed up, and I'm just like, I don't fucking do anything. Like, I don't want to do it, because then also I have to wash everything. I mean, Ed helps me, but you know, still, it's just after a while, you're just like, damn, on top of everything else, it just becomes too much. I don't have a dishwasher. I don't have, you know, and I don't want to be like, wah, wah. I'm just saying, like, you know, I'm just at that point again where it's like really difficult, and I'm feeling challenged and not tested. Like I talked about earlier, it's like I I think the word tested brings up a lot of emotions for us, where I feel like the word challenged is more like, you know, because a test is like you either pass or fail, right? Or you're on a spectrum of like A, B, C, D, whatever. Or you're in a 1 out of 10, or it's like all these, you know, things. It's like, but I feel like when we're being challenged, it's like, well, you can challenge yourself to do that, and if you do it, it's good. If you don't, it's like, you know, I don't know, I feel like it's the same but not the same. Maybe I'm lying to myself. I don't know. But anyway, I digress. That's my other one. This is, see, now this one, if that was, that would be different if it was that light, but it wasn't. It was this light, which is like that light, which is like a spotlight. This one's different because I can like touch it. Like it's one of those things. But because I'm not, or because I wasn't, that was a trip. Ooh, look at that. More light. Anyway, putting more light on this situation. Do you hear what I'm saying? Oh, I just heard that from Spirit, because they just filtered that from them. We're putting more light on the situation. Exactly, right? Because we're like in this dark moon energy, but it's going to get brighter and brighter and brighter till we get to the full moon in a few weeks, right? But until we get there, we still have a lot more to work through. And that's basically what Spirit wanted to talk about. So I'm going to show you what our, oh, I just feel like somebody was like, what do you mean your husband? So, yeah, Ed and I got married. I know that's such a crazy way. Some of you, I reached out. Some of you, okay, this is a trip too. All these wild things like have been happening. So many wild things have been happening to me since Samhain, and definitely since the 11/11 portal. So that's the day that Ed and I got married. When we first met, I don't even remember how it happened, but it just became this thing that 11/11 was our thing, 111. And we would text each other and say time. And a long time ago, I think I was looking, or we were talking about getting married like maybe 3 years ago. We've been together 5.5 years, and I remember saying it would be cute if we got married on 11/11. We were talking about we live in the Northwest and it's cold, and blah blah blah, and where would we get married and all this stuff. So long story short, I remember when I was looking at the calendar one time and I was like 11/11/2020. I'm like, that's actually really cool. I'm like, because it's like 11/11. It's like 1 and 1 is 2, 1 and 1 is 2. Like 1 and 1 is 2. Like now we are joined together, and we are definitely twin flames, if that is a thing. I don't know if I believe in like twin flames or whatever, but I believe in like that he is my person in this life that I'm meant to walk with. Absolutely. I've had soulmates. I've been in love many times, but there's definitely a difference, I'm kind of liking this, like half and half. It's like I'm feeling like the dark moon energy. But anyway, so we ended up, that was kind of like our goal date. Because then I said to him, I go, if not, I'm like 11/11/2022 would be kind of cool too. But anyway, so I think it was earlier this year, I was getting this vibe about it, and I was like, I feel like we're supposed to get married this year. I'm like, I feel like we're supposed to get married in November, and so we talked about it, whatever. Then you guys all know we had that, huge like breakup, and like we really wanted to see what it'd be like to like be on our own or whatever. Then had the incident, and all that happened, and then like we've been healing and stuff, and then like we've been healing our relationship, and it's just been really amazing. And then on Samhain, we just had this really great moment where actually the whole day was just magical. It was just so magical, and the ancestors were with us, and it was really powerful. And then I just heard like in symphony, like all the ancestors were like, ask him to marry you. And I was like we've talked about it, and we've indirectly like asked each other, but like we never like really like whatever. And I was like, no, and I was like scared, and I was afraid to like put myself out there, and Spirit was just like, just do it, whatever. So I just was like nervous, and I just was like, will you marry me? And he's like, and he like kind of took a moment, and I was like, and I panicked. It was like old programming, and I panicked, and I was like, well, you don't have to. I'm like, it's okay. I'm like, I don't even know. And he was like, yes, I will marry you, like that. And I'm like, yes, you will marry me. I'm like, it was like, he was almost like a robot, but I think he was like trying to be sincere. But anyway, I just kind of got weird about it, and then I was just like, I take it back. I'm like, that was weird. I'm like, I should know then. So then I made it weird, and then it was weird, and then we kind of had this like talk, and then it got deep, and then I cried, and then he cried, and it was just like really emotional. Then we like talked about like these really deep feelings and these deep fears that we had, and it was amazing. And then we kind of got back to our night, and it was really magical again. And then he came over, and he like bent down while I was laying on the couch, and he was like, will you marry me? And it was like super cute, and we kissed. And so I said, we have to do it 11/11/2020. And he's like, I know. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, so how are we gonna do this? So we decided to have this outdoor ceremony. It was amazing. I'll post some videos, but it was so amazing, you guys. Like, beyond the fact that the ancestors were there, Ed has this really cool connection with Sasquatch, and there was like a moment where he's like, they're here. He's like, they're like, he felt them in the water. He felt them. We were on this beautiful river up in the Olympic Mountains on the Olympic Peninsula in Washington, and one of our favorite places. It was just magical. The whole thing was magical. But yeah, so we did that, and it was really special, and it was like an old school, like, traditional, like pagan ceremony. I wish I can like put you in my head and have you there with me, because it was honestly like one of the most magical experiences of my life. But at the same time, it was a lot of stress, and I understand why people get wedding planners. And we already talked about it, like someday we want to do something big with like, the people we love. Because a few times I cried because I realized it was really happening, and I was like, we went and got flowers. We went to this really cute local organic bakery, and we went there and got stuff, and then we went to Trader Joe's and got some stuff and got some flowers. And so it was really cool. Oh, and then on our way there, one of our favorite hiking spots, we had talked about, oh, because that was the other reason too. He wasn't he didn't hesitate saying yes to me. He was kind of upset because he wanted to ask me, and he had it kind of planned out. And so he was kind of like, I think he was like, he didn't want to say no, but at the same time he was like, kind of like, oh, like you're stealing my moment. But he didn't, it's like, but it's not that he didn't act appropriately. It's just the way that I read it, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I don't know, just resurfaced a lot of our insecurities. But it was good, right? Because like we needed to talk about all that and like really, really know like that's what we wanted, and we wanted to be together. So on our way up there, he said, I know where we're going to go to get married. And he had already like planned that part out. But then on our way there, he was like, oh my gosh, we should go to this one waterfalls, Merhut Falls, that we love. And he's like, we should go there first. And I was like, I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about how he wanted to ask me proper. And I said, oh yeah. I'm like, okay. Well, we get there and we didn't realize it was 11/11. Like, it's Veterans Day. And I forgot that they don't do the observed anymore, like the Monday thing. They like do it on the day. And so it was packed. I couldn't believe how many people were there. It was crazy because like kids were off school and stuff, and a lot of people work from home now. So it was like we were so happy and so lit up and so like happy that I swear it was like people were like following us around. We couldn't catch a break. And let me tell you something. I appreciate people with the masks and everything, but we were getting really upset actually, because everybody had masks on but us, everybody. And I was like, you are so far away from people. I'm like, you're in nature. You're in nature. I saw some people without them, and then like when they got close to people, they put them on. But I was like, I understand what's going on, but I was like, you're literally in nature. Like, it's okay. It's fine. You're fine. Like, everything's fine. You're in the most magical mountains. I'm like, you're absolutely fine. So that was kind of tripping us out a little bit. So, it's interesting. Like, we loved our day. It was awesome and magical, but there were definitely a few things, like, looking back on it, we were a little overambitious. But I wouldn't change a thing. It was just, I mean, I would, but I wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, I cried yesterday saying how much I would change, actually. But you know what I'm saying? Like, at the same time, I know it was all meant to be that way. And I know we're going to do it again. And we talked about, like, all the things we'll want to do again. And then I realized things that we forgot to do. Where, it's why you have somebody. You have multiple people, helping you with a wedding. And anyway, so there's that. So if you wanted to know about that. Now, it's getting on, so we're going to talk about the reading. And it's getting late for me over here. It's almost midnight. Okay, so we are going to do this reading by, I don't even know. I mean, I'll try and see if I can bring up the name. I don't even know if you guys can see it because my screen's not that great right now. So this is who it's from. I found this on Instagram. I'll put their handle below. I don't even know who they are. I don't follow them or anything. I just sometimes will like just put in things to look for. So it's called the Scorpio New Moon Tarot Spread. It's 5 cards. And I took this as the very first question is, where am I being called to transform? So it was so powerful when Ed and I did this for ourselves and each other. Like, basically, I can't even tell you like how powerful and how aligned it was with everything that we'd been going through. I mean, because we've been like so close ever since the incident, and even like on our wedding day, it was like we were such a perfect pair. Like, everything was like, we laughed, we cried. Like, it was just like, it was just like that day where you're like, man, like, if we were like this all the time as humans. And then I realized, I'm like, but that's the whole goal. I felt like that's what Spirit's trying to tell us. That's what this new moon is all about. Like, really getting to the dark nitty gritty of it, right? So from this new moon, today's the 15th. By the time you guys see this, it'll be the 16th, or whenever you see it. They're timeless, really. But if you're in this energy now, you're in this energy cycle with us, then from this new moon until the full moon, which is another it's a, what did they call it? Preamble moon or something. I know I'm saying it wrong. It's late and I'm tired. It's like an eclipse. It's not a huge eclipse, but I think it's the last one of the year. I've been so consumed with so many things, especially like pulling the wedding together and just everything. Like, I haven't really been following my astrology as well as I would like to. But anywho, I realized like what Spirit's been trying to tell us, a lot of people were talking about this as the Lilith moon, because it was like so dark and sultry, and something's in my eye, sorry. So from this new moon until the full moon, there's gonna be a lot. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's like out of nowhere something just went in my eye. I mean, I can't control the magics everywhere. But this is really the time to go deep, 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 deep. Like the deepest, darkest you've ever gone with yourself. Like, really working with your past life stuff, working, with whatever. I'm actually putting together a pick-a-pile reading, because I started putting it together before the 11/11 portal, and I pulled for it anyway. It's still there together. But I realized that Spirit wanted me to wait until after this new moon, because it's so dark and it's so heavy, and it's actually really, really light and joyful. But, I try to honor and balance the light and the dark all the time, and the feminine and the masculine. I try to balance all the energies as much as I can. And so I listen to what my spirit guides say, and I got I think sometimes I put pressure on myself, because I love my readers. I love my YouTube people that I watch, like, and they're all, and I get it. Like, they're always like on point, right? Like, they're always there, like, right when I need them. But I kind of feel like, when I watch their stuff, I like have a lot of breakthroughs for myself, and then I do my own work, and then I have breakthroughs for the tribe. And so I feel like there's like a really deep connection there, if that makes any sense. So, when I pulled these cards, I realized that it's each one, there's going to be 5 piles, and each one is like a symbol, or there's going to be a symbol, but each one is the energy that Spirit wants you to work with in the light. And I kind of feel like it was birthed through the 11/11 energy, but it needs to be seen after we go through this really dark, heavy moon. So that'll probably be out sometime this week, hopefully sooner rather than later. But right now we're kind of trapped inside. The weather's been pretty bad and rainy and kind of icky every day, and Ed hasn't really been working. So when he's not working, he's here, and it's a little harder for me to do as many things as I would like to. I've been struggling with that too, because I feel like Spirit wants me to write, but I'm just like not feeling the writing either. But the truth is, I'm just like you. I need to work on this stuff, right? Like, we need to work on our stuff. So the first one is, where am I being called to transform? And I feel like that, like I said, like that's the whole theme of the reading. But then the second one is, where am I being called to heal? The third is, where am I being called to release? And the fourth is, where can I draw strength for this? And the fifth is, where can I find comfort for this? So it's interesting, because when I look at the songs, so the first one is, where am I being called to transform? And the first song that came through was John Lennon's Watching the Wheels. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. Where can I transform, right? I just gotta watch them flow. So we're gonna pull a card for that, but keep that song in mind, okay? And the second song is, let me read you the question first. Where am I being called to heal? And the song is This Is the Greatest Show, from The Greatest Showman. So I'm excited to see what card we pull for that. The third one is, what am I being called to release? And it was The Temptations, My Girl, but Spirit told me is Temptations. And that is so powerful. So again, I'm really excited to see where that's going to go. Then number 4 is, where can I draw strength for this? And the song was Deep Within. I mean, I can't make this shit up. I mean, it's like, I guess I can just show you guys them. Like, you know, I don't make them up. It's like they're in this thing for a reason. And then the last one is REO Speedwagon, 'cause I can't fight this feeling anymore. But the question is, where can I find comfort for this? Comfort feeling. I mean, you know, this is where I like love my spirit guides and really trust that they know what's going on, just like they were showing us that they were here. So you can stick around for that reading, you cannot stick around for that reading, you can come back and watch it later. But I'm going to call this at 30:50, where we ended the real talk. And what was the other thing I said? I guess that was it. It was kind of like a real, it was, I don't know, I mean, honestly, I'm feeling such heavy weighted energy that I'm actually surprised this came together at all. So this may get emotional, so if it does, it does. But we're going to pull from the Archetypes guidebook. The Archetypes guidebook. Okay? And let's drink some water and get hydrated. No, let's stay hydrated. Thank you. I've been so tired lately. And this kind of energy, I don't know about you guys, but I have a hard time sleeping, concentrating. It's interesting. I find that I'm the most comfortable when I'm meditating. And lately, I go to put music on or a meditation on, and like, it'll just stop. And I'm just there in the silence by myself. But I was like, you know what? That's when I used to meditate the best, when I was just like not focusing on anything at all, and just letting my mind wander to like the places like that it needs to go, because I find that my spirit guides will come in and like show me what I need to work on and what I need to heal. It's really powerful. Anyway, so here we go. We're going to start with number 1. Okay, so spirit, this is for the Panda tribe. This is for the collective. This is for the collective. Where are we being called to transform as a collective? Okay. Where are we being... Ooh, shit. I guess we don't need any of those. Where are we being called? Well, it's because they're so big, right? This pile, and my hands are so small. Where are we being called to transform? 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 They just keep throwing them out. Where are we being called to transform? Where are we being called to transform? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I'm like, I'm putting him down. Oh. Okay, hold on. There's like so much energy flying through my hands right now. It's insane. Oh, that. Oh, okay. This is the greatest show. Now I have that song stuck in my head. Okay, that's it. Is that all of them? Is that the 5? Is that the 5? I feel like there's something else. There's like a bonus card or something. Okay. I'm just letting it happen. I'm like, I'm not really sure what's going on there. So, a lot of intense energy all around me right now. So, it's all good. Okay. All right. Everybody simmer down. First you simmer, then you're done. Now. Simmer down now. Okay. Okay, where are we being called to transform? Where are 2? What? 3? 3 cards. Wow. Okay. So, we just got 3 cards, but I am going to I'm like, Penji! It's late. When it's this late, I like to, but you know what? They do this to me. They'll hide it on me, little fairies. I had it 2 seconds ago. Unless it flew down. Oh, I'm not listening. I'm not listening to what? Oh, okay, okay. The one. I pulled this in mine. I don't remember in which order. Okay. So this is the first one. Where am I being called to transform? I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. Okay, the one. Let's put it up here so you guys can see it. The one. It looks like a portal, doesn't it? It's number 30, which is also the number 3. Interesting. Oh, I didn't bring my glasses. Oh, that's bright. Thank you. The one. Non-duality, one love, unus mundus. Our ability to experience this archetype firsthand is limited. It comes in brief and potent moments that we are left to savor for a lifetime. The one is both the energy that unites all living beings and our capacity to sense this intimate union. This archetype eludes us most of our lives, appearing as a concept in a distant galaxy. Yet when we are in the midst of its power, a solemn reverence falls across all the land. We glimpse ourselves in the vastness of all consciousness and are neither small nor large within that field. We are neither important nor unimportant. All duality fades away and we are left with what is, the precious knowing that life is a gift, and we are both the giver and the receiver of this fortune. Oh, I love that. Oh, I'd read this to me. Or did I read it? I don't remember. Anyway, when we're in light, we're in service. We are happy, loving, accepting, and everything's resonating, right? But when we're in dark, we're ignoring things, we're omitting things, we're excluding things. Very, very interesting. So this is where we need to, so let me read it exactly. So this is where we are being called to transform. Yeah, I mean, right? It's like, and it makes sense because it's like, it kind of, I was hearing like one love, like in my head, you know, let's get together and, you know what I mean? Like that kind of, that's where we need to be, like as a soul tribe, like as starseeds. But it's hard right now, right? Because we all feel like we got the shit kicked out of us. It was like the hardest year ever. I mean, most people are saying this, like, you know, I mean, it's just been a really, really, really rough year. I mean, you know, talk to somebody who's been in a war or, you know, living in a war zone or something like that, right? Because they'd be like, we've been living like this forever. But our utopian bubble, especially in like, you know, the more affluent cultures, you know, the United States and Europe and like certain parts of the world that like have a lot of money. Although I guess at this point it's everywhere. I mean, you can't even like say that it's just like in this place or that place. It's pretty much everywhere now. So, but everybody's like trying to attain this like goal, this unattainable goal really, because this being perfect or whatever, it's like this fake facade thing. So now we're all realizing like we need to be this kind of like one love, you know, like this one unity. That's where we need to transform our thinking. We're not in the muggle world anymore. We're not in that, it's like we're not. And a lot of us are still struggling with like moving from that world to this world. It's like, you know, we are in the 5D energy right now. We are living in the 5D energy, but we have to release certain things. I know for myself, like, at night, like we were doing so good, like we've been eating really healthy, you know, for the most part, and getting edge strong and everything. But boy, leading up to like the wedding, it was like once our landlord was like said we can stay here week by week until we found a place, we're like, oh my god, we're like, thank you so much, because it was just so much pressure. So it's like, you know, we were under so much pressure in October. And then like with the election and just the energy and the pandemic and everything, just like you, right? Like you have your own personal stuff that you were dealing with on top of, you know, everything else. And right, so we're all going through these like heavy things. And I know for us personally, it was like, um, basically from Samhain up until like this past weekend for like 2 weeks, we just were like, fuck, like we were working, we were still like doing stuff and, making money, paying the bills and all that, but like we weren't stressing about moving or looking for a place. Like we're looking, but we're not like stressing as much before, where we were like, shit, we got to get out. And so we, we're still pursuing all of our goals, but we weren't like feeling such pressure. Um, the wedding was, but again, we didn't want to like ruin it by putting pressure around it. So we're like, we'll just flow. Um, but the food we were eating, I mean, we were like, we stopped at Trader Joe's and we cheated, and we've been trying to be vegan, but we cheated and got some goat cheese. We like got like a lot of our favorite fun foods and stuff, because we were like, it's our wedding, we're like, fuck, like, we can't like cater it or whatever. And we did go to the organic bakery by us, but like, our budget was only what it was, and so we made do. But yesterday I was like, man, I feel like shit. Like I ate bread and cheese and all this stuff, and I was like, I can't even remember the last time I ate like that. And it was amazing. We felt like kings, and queens, but it was definitely like not good for us, right? And then I realized it was starting to lower my vibration again, and I was like peeking in on the news again and peeking in on, like what's going on social media, like what's everybody up to. And I wanted to share everything about the wedding, but I just wasn't sure. Like I kind of wanted to like leave it like just ours for a minute, because it was so precious. And I don't want to make this about me, but I'm just saying from my own personal experience, but we just spoke about this at night yesterday. I was like, we have to change it. Like we have to change it. Like we just have to start, like as my old friend used to say, we have to black box certain things, because I think if you're addicted to something, it's really like, for myself, like I'm addicted to certain foods, and if I don't eat them in the healthy way, and I just like go off the wagon a little bit, it's like letting it out, and then you're just like, oh, it's okay, oh, it's okay, oh, it's okay, oh, it's okay. And I think all year we've all been like self-soothing in whatever way feels good for us, and for me it's food. Food's always been a comfort for me. I think a lot of people, self soothe with food as well. So it's just been a tough time. So it's not that I'm trying to get down on myself or you or any of us, for that matter, for what we've been going through. But at the same time, Spirit's saying like, okay, but like now we're kind of at the end of it, and they're trying to pull us back into the light. And it's harder for us, any of us, to like really, be in a high vibration when we're feeling like shit. And that's just natural, right? And I know for us, like we're in the Pacific Northwest, where it's like rainy and it's like icky outside. We could be outside, but like today Ed went hiking. When he came back, he was like shivering, like he was soaking wet, and I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, are you okay? So it's not ideal all the time, but at the same time, we just have to work at it a little each day, even if it's like I just saw something recently where she's like, you know what, just give yourself at least one good meal a day, one really good meal a day that's full of like vegetables and good fats and that kind of thing. But when you're constantly not taking care of yourself and not sleeping and whatever, and speaking from personal experience, when we do that, it lowers our vibration, and then we have to work a little bit harder to put ourselves back out there. So that's where we have to transform. We have to come more from this what I liked, this all duality fades away, and we are left with what is the precious knowing that life is a gift, and we are both the giver, ooh, thank you, and the receiver of this fortune. So our transformation and our mission, should we choose to accept it, as Ethan Hunt always says, my spirit guide, who I call Ethan Hunt. So it's not mission impossible, it's mission possible. Mission I'm possible, right? So we can do this, we just have to stick together as a community. And that's I just posted something about this on my Instagram, and it was this whole like ego, versus like higher self kind of thing. And one of the things they had said about that was like, isolation and like community. Like, when we isolate ourselves too much, then we start to get too much wrapped up in our heads. And that's, to be honest, it's interesting to me the way that this is all happening, because some of the isolation is good and some of it is not good, because some people can thrive in that and some people, aren't. And people are really starting to see these divides, and now the holidays are coming and people are like, oh my gosh, I'm really going to be alone. And I saw something recently and I just got this feeling about it now, is that Christmas time, at least according to statistics, is like one of the highest suicide rates ever, is during that time of year. And so I'm thinking to myself that we really need to work hard on ourselves and our small little tribes and communities, and keeping the vibration high, doing what we love, whatever it is you love, what makes you tick, what makes you smile, what makes you want to like get up in the morning, focusing on our joy. I love that my friend Jules, it was funny, we were talking about our words for the year, and I was like, what's your word for the year? And she's like, mine's joy. And I was like, oh, I love it. And I was like, mine's integrity. Because I knew this shitstorm that we were going to be embarking upon. And so I was like, this is when everybody's going to really, need to be in integrity. But it was interesting because I loved that she had joy, because all year round she was still posting, and still is posting, really beautiful things about joy. And so I love that, right? Like, we're all in different places. We all have our different roles to play. So stay in a high vibration as much as possible, but work through this dark stuff while you can. Just don't linger there forever. Get there, work through it, do something happy, do something you love. If you really want to eat, something that's not super good for you, that's fine, but then try and eat some spinach. You know what I mean? Like, it's like right now it's just like trying to get some balance right there. I understand the holidays are coming and people are going to be more like wanting food, and you know what I mean? There's going to be a lot of things. We're not out of the woods yet, right? There's going to be a lot of other things that are going to be uncovered, things that are going to make a lot of people unhappy, things that are going to upset people deeply. I don't even want to get into it. It's like, it's been difficult in some ways to kind of see how things are coming to fruition that I've been like praying won't happen, or like not even talking about it with you guys at all, and barely like, even there's been a few things with Ed, like something will happen, I'm like, oh man, I thought that, I just didn't want to say it out loud, So it's not a fear thing. I don't want to put you in a fearful place. It's not like that. It's just more of the shit that's going to get uncovered. Like, there's more to come, you guys. You know what I mean? Like, there's more to come. So this is why Spirit wants us to like go in and thank you to this person, Durgada Salandriel from San Francisco, California, for this awesome reading. Okay, so number 2, where am I being called to heal? Where am I being called to heal? Where am I being called to heal? Where are we being called to heal? Would you notice as I said I, and it was like when I said we, it pulled it. The Father, number 2. Interesting, the Father. And look at the duality. Remember, they just said that in the other thing about duality. Also, I kind of like these imagery because you can kind of look at it from any way, right? Like from here, to me, it looks like one tree, right? And it's like you've got this like the negative space, and that, like if you're like in art school, remember we did that, right? But then if you turn it this way, it looks like a moon, and then this looks like a river or something, and like these are trees, and this is, you know what I mean? So I find it interesting. Even this way, you can look at it like that, where this can be like the dark night, this could be a glacier. You know what I mean? It's like whatever way you look at it, it's like really powerful. So I'm excited. I've only read this card once, so wow. I mean, this is pretty heavy. I mean, it's like, where are we being called to heal? I mean, how many tribe members? As of today, as of right now, we have 147. Woohoo, woohoo, woohoo. It's the number 12. It was 146. It turned 146, by the way. I think it was like the day we got married, or later that day, or it was the next morning or something. I was like, oh, look, I have 146. I go, that's 11. I was like, 11, woohoo. And then today I was like, oh, we have 147. I go, that's 12, because the 12-12 portal's coming. But anyway, I digress. So the Father, number 2. Isn't that interesting? The first one was 3, the number 3, right? Because if you bring it down to the lowest denominator, it'd be 3. And this one is 2, the Father. So where do we need to heal? So, you know, obviously we've got some father energy to work with. And the interesting thing is, I just heard too, for some of us, it may not be our fathers per se. It could actually even be like our mothers, fathers, like coming through to like give you this message. Do you know what I mean? So this is, I feel like there's so many of us. So please take from this what you need, leave behind what you don't. The father, the great father, the masculine, the protector. Alongside the mother, the father resides in the central axis of the archetypal family. The father embodies both light and dark aspects of the masculine. Thus, he is infinitely dynamic and complex. His energy is strong and regal, embodying such virtues as honesty, wisdom, and loyalty. Yet, ironically and simultaneously, the father is often absent, literally or emotionally. Through absence or action, the father eventually reveals that he is neither a king nor a god, but a human being with many flaws and wounds. He is both the guardian and one who leaves us to the wolves. Here yet gone, the champion and the failure. The father can never resolve or escape this duality. It is inherent in the archetype itself. Witnessing the father's limitations allows the child to grow beyond the family and into the world. Right? You know, so if you're having like an experience, like maybe some of you are having a hard time with your father, you know, maybe for you it's the divine masculine energy. So, you know, only you know what you need to heal. And I always say to people, when we're doing a mass reading like this and we're getting it like read to us like this, like actual messages, whatever hit you first. If you thought of Uncle Joe, if you thought of, you know, Billy Bob from, you know, daycare when you were 5 years old, there's some energy there, masculine or something. Maybe they pulled your pigtails and you know what I mean? Like there are so many, that's what I'm saying. Like I know, like, right? Like you're like, what? That's like so many different things. That's right. Because there's so many of us. It's like, it makes sense, right? So the other thing is the father's limitations allows the child to grow beyond the family and into the world. Because, you know, we can only blame our parents for so long for what they did to us, right? But if we spin it and turn it around and say, thank you for what you did for me, not to me, but what you did for me, it's a whole different story, right? I had a reading today and we spoke about that, you know. I'm like, if we look at our elders and the people who we were raised with, around, you know, grew up with, whether it's family, school, you know, church, whatever it was for you growing up, you know, we have like these father figures, we have this masculine energy. So I saw something recently, or maybe it was in a reading today, but it was something recently that talked about how we see things in one way, but because that's the way we're raised, right? But then we like go to church, or we're at school, or, you know, we're at a baseball game or something. I don't know, whatever it is, very Americana. I'm sorry, I'm just like pulling stuff out, right? And then that coach, that teacher, that preacher, that person has a completely different perspective on something, right? But if it contradicts what your father's told you, or what your father's father's told you, your grandfather, right? Because it's an energy, or a masculine energy in your family. Maybe it's your brother, maybe it's your mother who was her driving force was her father through the masculine energy through her, right? It's like whatever that is for you. It's like right here, it's saying the great father, the masculine, the protector. It's an archetype. So it's like, where do you need to heal in that archetype within yourself? Okay, and I think it's interesting that it's the second one is The Greatest Show. Remember, that was the song, that was the theme for this card, was, you know, this is the greatest show. If you look at it like that, like this is your movie. You are the star of your own movie. I say this all the time to people because it's so true. If you look at it like that, and the person like you're interacting with, they're the star of their show, and you're just like a guest, you know, thing on theirs, you know, somebody you talk to in the line at the store, a coworker, a friend, whatever. It's like we all have our own roles to play You know, we're not here to play small, and we're not here to be somebody's bitch, right? Like, we're here to, like, be our own person. And that really came through today a lot. I was, like, feeling so many things. And so I think that's basically what they're saying. It's like, this is what the father energy is saying to you. Like, you know, what do you need to heal? It's this happened. You chose this. This was in your soul contract. We can't keep blaming everybody, our father, the masculine energy, even now with what's happening on the planet. Yes, it's been a patriarchal thing for thousands of years, but it is shifting. And the female energy is, you know, coming back. And it's really, 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 really powerful. You know, last year when I just happened to, I was going through looking for something else, and I saw Joe Biden on Jimmy Kimmel, and that's when he, you know, said that he was going to run. And I remember I said to Ed, I'm like, I go, you know, I'm like, he would actually be perfect right now. I'm like, because I feel like I'm not mad at the president current for what they, you know, they played a part, and it wasn't easy playing that part in this movie, in this big great show, right? Like, he's dealing with this patriarchal energy. Talk about father figure, right? Like, look at that. Like, anything that you read or hear about, it's like Trump's dad, like, was really hard on him, and he was not a nice man from what they say. And so, you know, it's like some people are still trying to prove themselves until they die. It's like they'll hold on to something to the very bitter end. And Spirit doesn't want us to do that. They want us to let that go. But I realized when I was watching him, and just when he talked, you know, he spoke about why he wanted to run and stuff. And I said, that is kind of what we need right now. I go, I feel like we need a good, like a grandpa. Like, we need that kind of grandpa that comes in with a little bit of tough love and is like, you know, he's not perfect, he's not whatever, but he, you know, comes in and he's a little stern, but he understands things. He's not super emotional, but he can be. And so I was like, I'm like, that's what we need, is like somebody like that, where you can be like, Grandpa, you know, where you're like that. If you've had that, I know I did. I was blessed to have that. Not everybody had that. But then over the last year, watching everything and seeing everything, and then like seeing his skeletons come out of the closet, I'm talking about Biden, and just seeing it all, I was just like, oh my gosh. And then watching the debates, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. And I was like, are there any adults in the room? You know, I'm like, we need some adults in the room. So it's going to be really interesting to see how a lot of things, you know, happen. So heal your stuff, so that when more stuff on the outskirts start to unfold and reveal themselves, and as as things start to shift and move around, that's when we need to be steady and strong in who we are. Don't go looking outwardly about what's happening in the world. Heal what's inside of you. Heal this patriarchal energy wherever it's coming from. And you know, because when the card came out and when it was read, you got to ping somewhere. Right? And if you didn't, then I want you to meditate on it. Okay? So that's for that one. And I'm not feeling like we're meant to go any further on that. So, okay. So number 3 is, what am I being called to release? What are we? What are we being called to release? Oh, look at that. It was like I went like that and it pulled it. It went here and there like, that's the one. Ooh. Now, this is the part of the reading that was my favorite. This was my favorite, number 3, because Ed and I had completely different things. For him, it was about releasing something inside of himself that was needed to come out. For me, it was about something I needed to release and let go. And that's when I had this aha moment, that a lot of times over these moons, these new moons, and or the full moon, they're like, oh, this is where you set your intention. This is where you release. This is where you blah, blah, blah. And there's like, and that's fine, because I know that's what it's for in the moon cycles. But what I found really interesting with this release was, I felt like it was like, what do you need to unleash? You know what I mean? Not just release and let go, but what's pent up inside of you that you need to relinquish. Like, what do you need to like let go inside and bring out to the world, not let go and be away from you? You hear me? So I feel like it's very interesting, because we pulled the animal, release the Kraken, right? Oh, I'm excited to read this for you guys. So the animal, and this is 19, which is also 19 is 9 and 1 is 10, but also 19 is like, if you look at it like from 1 to 10, then 10 to 20, you know, but like with each stage, it's like stage 1, you know, stage 2, stage 3 to get to 10, and then you start the sequence over again, right? So it's kind of like this, where I feel like it's 19. It's like we're almost there, right? But like we're not quite there yet. Like I said, right? Like I feel like by the time we get to this full moon, then there's going to be another resurgence, because I think the 29th is, I forget which, I think it's Uranus is going direct, but like I think by the 30th, all of these planets that have been in retrograde, and some of them have been in retrograde for several months, are going to turn direct. And even though that's really cool that we're going to kind of feel the, you know, like we're not like fighting uphill anymore, it's still going to be the debris of that, because that's a lot of energy, that's a lot of repressed energy, that's a lot of uncovering. Just so many things are going to like explode from this year. There's going to be a lot of emotions, there's going to be a lot of joy, there's going to be a lot of happiness, and it's going to feel like this. So, you know, ride the wave, but just instead of going like this, like a lot of people are doing in the 3D, it's like Spirit wants you to wants us to ride the wave more like this, like, I'm cool, I'm steady, I'm cool, I'm steady, you know, but staying in like a really good like center space for that. So 19 is like we're almost there, but we're not quite there yet. The animal. What do we need to release? The animal. Oh my gosh, I'm super excited, because this is so far very different than my own personal reading. The animal. The beast, the wild one, the she-wolf. We are mammals. The hair on our chest and between our legs remind us so. We try hard to deny our unrefined animalistic nature, yet through this archetype, we tap into power and direction. Activating the animal within means reawakening our relationship to nature in the most broad and embodied sense. Drinking from waterfalls, roaring at the moon, opening eyes underwater, eating berries from the vine. The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices, the constraints, and the social constructs, and remember the warm blood that pulses through our veins. The animal longs for breath, food, procreation, and physicality. It wants soil under our nails and starlight on our skin. If this all sounds terribly unsophisticated to you, take note that it is said that when Buddha became enlightened, he roared like a great lion. Right? And it's interesting, speaking from my own experience, when we got married, I mean, that's why I wish I can, like, that's the only thing I would change. Like, I would go back and, like, really be present, because when we called in the energy, like, we were next to this beautiful raging river at night with a campfire. It was overcast, it was cold, we can see the snow on the mountains, we had a fire going, we had, you know, our beautiful circle with our altar and everything. I mean, it was really powerful. But all of a sudden I said, I just wish we could see the stars. And it was like all these magical things. Like, I was like, I wish this, or I blah, blah, blah. And like, it would just happen. And then all of a sudden I like felt the ancestors around us. And I'm like, man, I want to take my shoes and socks off. It was cold though. It was really cold. But I was like, you know, all of a sudden I just felt this animalistic nature where I was like, I almost cried. I'm like, I don't want to go home. I'm like, I wish we had a tent right now. I'm like, I just wanted to stay there. I didn't want to leave. And it's interesting when they said that about eating the fruit off the vine. Earlier this summer, we have an orchard behind us, and I was just eating fruit like right off the vine. And because we don't use pesticides or anything like that, it's just all overgrown. Like whatever grows, grows. It's like nobody's tended to it in a while. Ed used to keep up with it, but it's been a year or so since he did. And I remember like feeling, instead of just pulling the berry off, I would like feel it, and I would feel like, does this one want to come off? I'm like, no, okay. And then I'd go to a bigger, juicier blackberry, and I would just like pull it right off the vine and eat it. And I found myself one day, it was like this beautiful day, and that kind of day where you barely wear clothes because it's so warm outside, but it wasn't hot, and I was barefoot, and I was like walking around by the orchard, and I'm just like eating the fruit off the, and I've never felt more like connected, you know, because it's like I was connected to the earth, I was connected to the plants, and just like speaking to them and thanking the fairies, and it was just this really great moment. I believe that is what we're missing, right? So I feel like in this sense, that's why they spoke to me about the release the animal within. You know, that doesn't mean you run amok and you go and murder and kill people. It just means, you know, like having, you know, not having reserve. I mean, we don't want to like go, you know, off the rails. Like, because I do feel like sometimes that there are some of us that if they could, they would. I think it's a civilized society that keeps them from, it's not even the fear of going to jail. It's like they're civilized and, you know, of course they wouldn't go to jail, whatever. But I mean, there are some people that you, at least I've had this experience where I meet them and I'm like, I could see them poisoning people, or I could see them, you know what I mean? Like, or just, or like maybe it's because I watch too many shows, but I was going to say, because I like a lot of like lawyer shows and like thrillers and things like that and good stories or cool plot twists. But it's usually, you know, it's usually the quiet ones you got to be careful for, you know what I mean? But we've been repressed. Our animal has been repressed for so long that it even brings out things like that, right? That we would even think like, also because I just read that they're doing a Dexter reboot. If you've never seen Dexter, if you can handle that, I mean, I know as empaths, some people can't handle it. I usually, I'm like, oh, or I'll be like, no. Or like, it always seems like when I'm eating, there'll be like somebody's like, you know, blood or whatever. And I'm like, oh no. But anyway, but the premise behind Dexter is fascinating because Dexter is a serial killer who kills serial killers. And he realized at an early age that he had this, like, whatever it was for killing. And so his, I don't remember the whole story. I don't remember if he was a stepfather or what the story was or if he was his mentor, but he was a cop. And so he, you know, Dexter ends up becoming not a coroner. What do they call him? Where he goes to the scene to deal with the dead body. I can't think of it right now, but you know what I'm talking about. And so, you know, the cop like kind of sees this in Dexter, but kind of like shows him like, I'm gonna look the other way. Like, you know, just kill. You don't just, you know, don't kill innocent people or whatever, you know, like kill people that deserve it kind of thing. And I know that it's, you know, we're not here to play God or anything like that, but it's fascinating, right? It's just, that's the way he's working through his duality. So the animal within, it's time for you to release it, whatever that is. And maybe it is where you're like, I just don't want to brush my hair, or I don't want to blah, 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 or whatever it is. Maybe you're too prim and proper, or you always have your, you know, this perfect or that. And they're like, you know, step out of your comfort zone. Like, what does the animal within look like to you, right? So when we are in light, we're vital, we're elemental, we're alive, we dance, like we're like drunk with life, right? Clear your throat chakra. I know for some of you, work on your throat chakra. It's hard for you to speak your truth, but don't. Be who you are. When in dark, we're savagery, pent up emotion, and lashing out. Today I had that. I was lashing out at my partner. Isn't that funny? I'm so used to calling him partner. I want to call him husband because it's cuter, but partner's cute too. But I lashed out at him for things that, like, I could have controlled it, but I was putting it on him. And I realized, like, after he went to bed, like, when the music was playing, when I was setting it up, it's like The Greatest Show came on, and I was feeling kind of, like, bratty, because I was like, man, if he wasn't sleeping, I would blast this right now, and I would dance around the room while I was setting this up, you know? But it's like, you know, I'll do it when I can. But if I repress it for too long, I start to lash out, and I can see it in myself. And it's like, that's not his fault, because I can say to him, can you go do this or that? So that I mean, now it's a little different because it's late and whatever, but you see what I'm saying? Okay, so that's the animal. Ooh, they were calling me to read. They have like these kind of like side things. I wasn't called to read the other ones, but this one says, the animal demands we get comfortable in our own skin. The minute you accept, express, and celebrate the physical body, you tap into animal energy. So dance, dance, dance. This is for all of us. Sorry to give you a little finger swag, but I'm hearing that, like, yeah, like getting into our body, you know, even if it's like yoga and stretching and just like feeling alive. It says, notice your resistance to the animal within. Where does it come from? What has it kept you from doing, wild one? So where does it come from? Where does the repression come from? Like, I'm telling you mine, right? I'm sharing my stories with you. Mine comes from we've been in this tiny home for a long time. I said it today. I'm like, Spirit, I'm serious. I'm like, I need my own space, man. I'm like, I need my own space. And it feels like the chicken and the egg right now, because I get like really calm. I'm really awesome. I'm really good for a while, but then I like get pent up, and I'm just like, I need to get out. I need space. I need to breathe. I need to, especially now with all this going back into quarantine, it's really powerful, for us to take this time for ourselves. Go for a ride in the car. Go for a walk around the block. Do what you can. Say, I need to go into this room for a few minutes. Here, take the baby. Here, you deal with this and that. Or I'm just going to do this. Or, you know what I mean? Like taking that time for ourselves. So that is what we need to release, the animal within. Okay, number 4. Where can we draw strength for this? 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 Where can we draw strength for this transformation? Okay. Okay. Some cards flew over here, so we'll see if sometimes, no. Some cards flew down here. There it is. Oh, look. The temple. Which, by the way, they told me, I forgot to read our thing. Sorry, you guys. So number 3 was the animal, right? But the song was also Temptation. The Temptations, Gold, My Girl. That's what's on there. So let's see, Spirit. Is there a message there that we did not receive with releasing our animal? Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because we want to, right? But it feels like a temptation, like we can't do that. Like for some of you, anyway, that's what I'm getting. And I'm saying, like, especially if like you didn't watch this whole thing and you're only coming to number 3, I feel like, or you were going to number 3, I feel like what they were trying to say is that, okay, they're gonna give me their words. Oh, for some of you, you're completely excluding the temptation from your life. So, like, let's just say maybe your significant other, let's just use an example. Maybe your significant other doesn't like loud music or doesn't like the music you play, and maybe you want to be home and dance, but like you can't turn it up because they're gonna like get mad, or they're gonna argue with you. So you just like don't even put the music on. You don't even you just completely exclude that temptation from the situation so that you don't release the animal. But also, okay. Then the other side of the metaphor is releasing the temptations. So there's, for some of you, there's some things there that you do need to release. You need to release the temptations that are around you. For my thing, I said to Ed, I was like, we can't keep this food in this house. Like, we bought so much food for the wedding, and it was like super fun, but then we like ate it for like the next 2 or 3 days, like we would on like Thanksgiving. But I was just like, we can't, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's just too much. It's just too much, right? So I was like, we need to just not have this food in the house. Like, we just need to like not like release the temptation. So whatever the temptation is for you, do you get it? Okay, so there we go. So now we're back on to number 4, and this is about going deep within. I mean, seriously. Come on, deep within, and then we get, the temple. Why are they not letting me show this card? Here we go. Okay, they didn't want to show them at the same time. Right? That's super powerful. What did you say? Oh, okay. That's really powerful. And this is 39, which is also at the end of a cycle, right? Like, we had the 19, and we had 6, 7, and then 19. Ooh, and 6 and 7 is 13. So 39, the temple. And I'm going to go back in. That is kind of wild, though, that it's called Deep Within. So this is, where can I draw strength for this? Deep within, the temple. It's so fun. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. Okay, I'm going to have to take some of these out. That's okay, though. Oh, look at that with the new moon there. That's pretty. Okay. So let's go there. The temple. Where can we draw strength for this? 39. The temple, the sanctuary, the shrine, the altar. When we think of the temple, we often envision an archetypal structure in a far-off land. We are quick to distance ourselves from the sacred, assuming we must expend much effort in order to arrive there. Yet the temple is a universal and omnipresent energy, accessible in the highest and lowest, richest and poorest of places. Visiting the temple might be as simple as stepping into the dappled light of the forest, slowly and sensually kissing a lover, or closing your eyes to travel inward. This card is a call to re-examine what you pay homage to and what you reject. What do you spend your time worshiping? Your phone, money, material goods? What barriers do you draw between yourself and the sacred? And I just heard self-loathing, lack of faith, trust. Perhaps there is room on your altar for something new, something surprising. Offer it to the heavens. Oh. So, yeah, go within, go within. I mean, deep within the temple, it's like, I feel like, yeah, it's like, that's what they're saying. Where can we draw our strength from this? Going into meditation, going into, even from the beginning, it's like, look at the story they're telling us. It's like they're having us really go in there. Even with the animal, it's like, you can look at it as like, you know, like the werewolf, right? Like, because during the day, they're like a lovely person, but once the full moon comes, they're like the werewolf. Well, the full moon is coming in 2 weeks, right? So it's like, I feel like this is the energy they want us to work with, you know, so that by the time the full moon comes out, we're prepared. We have gone in, we have gotten centered, we're working with the dark side, we're working with our animal, we're working with all of the elements, being outdoors, breathing fresh air, getting away from people, really being solitary. I mean, I can only imagine what's in store, honestly, because usually winter is that time of, you know, going within, but once it's time for the new president to go in America, you know, I just feel like there's going to be unrest for at least a few more years. And so this year went by really fast, and it went by fast because we are in the 5D energy and we're not in this slow, drudgery, slavery, controlled mentality anymore. And it's just not going to happen overnight. So it's going to take a minute, like, to, you know, and we're all starting to see now that we're really going to start separating from friends, from family, from like certain things. Like, we're really, really going to be pulling away. So in order for us to handle that, we need to be sacred with ourselves. We need to know exactly who we are, not just like, you know, who we think we are, right? Or like, you know, oh yeah, I meditate, or yeah, I do yoga, or whatever, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But like, you're still, you know, texting somebody drunk, or, you know what I mean? Or like sending ill will to somebody. It's like you're like, it's like my aunt used to call it a cafeteria Christian. You know, the people that pick certain things and then they like run with it. It's like, it's the same for this. It's like, you know, we can only pick and choose for so long, like how much of this fifth dimension that we're going to live in, but it's like we can't keep some stuff from 3D. You know, it's like, it's not going to work. It's not going to, there's always going to be feel like there's a cog in the wheel if we're not flowing in that, right? And that's what I was saying to Spirit. It's like, you know, even today, it's like I was feeling like, is it the food? I'm like, am I just not strong enough? I'm like, do I have to work a little harder on myself, you know? And I was kind of throwing myself a little bit of a pity party, but then I heard this voice that was like, yes, like, you of all people know this. Like, your body is your temple. Your body is your temple. Your body is your temple. We have to take care of it. This is our avatar. This is our avatar. So I said to Ed, I'm like, okay, we had a blast. It was our wedding. We absolutely deserved it. It was a lot of fun. I'm like, but for Thanksgiving, I was like, I'm like, let's get real about, because he's been cooking again too and really enjoying it. And so I was like, let's get real about like what you want to cook, what I want to cook. And I'm like, let's do everything really like as healthy as we possibly can and still enjoy it. Because the truth is, when I don't eat certain foods, or I don't like, when I'm sleeping well, when I'm taking good care of myself, everything comes naturally to me and I feel great. But when I'm looking at social media again, when I'm looking at the news again, when I'm, you know, doing all these little things, I can feel my vibration getting lower. And then I go back in and I get strong again, but then it's like, and then I'm feeling depleted. we need to, you know, kind of stay on an even keel. It's okay to like have great moments and then like have a low moment, but we don't want to go like this. We want to be in the middle and then be like a bleep, like, okay, obviously like you have to go to the store and get food, 3D for a minute, okay, cool, and then keep going. Like usually when I've been in Trader Joe's, in my experience, they're pretty open-minded and pretty cool. But there's this one Trader Joe's by my house that I'm just, I don't know what it is. There's been a handful of people there that I really like, and then there's like another handful of people there that I don't know what it is, but it's like some of them are like, oh, that's cool when they see me with my pendulum, and other ones like treat me differently. You know, like I'm some sadist or something, you know, which whatever, even if I was. I'm like, you know what I mean? And so I realized like I don't even really like going out anymore. I don't want to order things online, but at the same time I'm like it's really hard for me. Even my co-op was like the last time I went into my co-op, it was not a super pleasant experience, and I was just like, what's happening, you know? But it's everywhere, you know, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So do your best to like stay in your lane, take care of your temple, go deep within. That's where we will find our strength. I just wanted to make sure I was saying it right. Okay, so now for our last card, where can we find comfort for this? Where can we find comfort for this transformation? Where can we find comfort for this transformation? Where can we find comfort? Okay. Where can we find comfort for this transformation? Where can we find comfort for this transformation? This is so great. It's so fun. Where can we find comfort for this transformation? Okay, there we go. Oh, yes. Okay. When Ed and I were done doing the reading yesterday, I said, I can't wait to do this for the tribe. And as I was putting the cards away, this card flipped out. I even said, I was like, I wonder if that's going to be one of our cards. And it's the number 11. I mean, really? Okay, and so where can I find comfort for this? And the theme is I can't fight this feeling anymore. REO Speedwagon. Is there anything else on here? Wheels are turning. Ooh, that's interesting. The first card was wheels. I'm just sitting here watching the wheels go round and round. And the last song says wheels are turning. I mean, I'm not making that up. How crazy is that? So wheels are turning and I can't fight this feeling anymore. Or we can't fight this feeling anymore. And I feel like that's the planet. And isn't it interesting that I was talking about this reading and like in the next 2 weeks from now it's going to be the full moon. And how it's going to have like, I think they call it a preamble eclipse or something where it's like not a full eclipse. Don't quote me on that. But it's something like that. Research it. Or I'll probably talk about it again. But anyway, if you look at this, there is kind of a... There's like almost, I know the lighting's not super good, hold on. But see how there's like almost like a, how did I get it, how did Spirit do it before? It looks so good. You see that, right? I feel like this light makes it worse. So that's really interesting. It's like starting with one, and even the first card. It's like this darkness around it. It's very powerful. Okay. So what do you have to tell us, the Queen? Ooh, and she's also holding the snake, and snake is all about transformation, and this whole thing was about transformation, remember? It was like, where can I, what was the first one? Where am I being called to transform? And here we are with a snake in our culmination card. Where can I find comfort for this? I mean... Such a beautiful reading. Thank you, Spirit. The Queen, the Empress, the Mother Queen, the Sovereign. Like her counterpart, the King, the Queen has a dualistic nature. Either she... Ooh, and isn't that interesting that we had the Father for the second thing, which was, where am I being called to heal? And then at the end it says, where can I find comfort? So we're healing. We need to heal the masculine energy, right? Because this masculine energy has been dominating our planet for so long. So now we're in this like excuse me, we're healing the masculine energy. I feel like my body's burping it up. It's interesting because I haven't eaten anything. But it's like we're kind of like burping up and purging up like that darkness from the masculine energy that's been, you know, almost bastardized, right? Like the masculine energy is beautiful, just as the feminine is. It's a divine masculine and divine feminine balance, but we haven't been in balance, and that's why the father energy, the masculine energy, needs to heal, and that's what we're working on through this new moon. And then the culmination where we're going to find comfort is in the feminine divine. That's really powerful. Thank you, Spirit. The mother. The sovereign. Okay, so the queen has a dualistic nature. Either she presides over the realm with grace and eloquence that comes from the heavens to uplift the spirit of others, or she falls into petty, contemptuous moods, casting a shadow across the land. If the king is the ego, the queen is the expression of that ego in the world. We were just talking about that with the ego, right? Like November, this month, like with the eclipses, is all about, you know, really casting aside our ego and coming more into, you know, having the duality. Look at that. Look at my fingers. But then also coming more like into center. There's so much going on. Do you see it in the shadow in the lower down there? Oh, that's so trippy. So trippy. There's so much magic here right now. I'm just pure fucking magic, you guys. Like, honestly, we all are, but like lately I'm not even fighting it anymore. I'm just like, the things that happened on our wedding, like we were just looking at each other like, I mean, Bastet was there. Like the goddess Bastet was like at our wedding. Like the way I felt the heavy cat energy, it was unbelievable. Anyway, it's just all magic. So the queen is the expression of that ego in the world. She is the lotus's bloom, the dancer's bow, the moon's radiant reflection. When the queen is seated in her rightful and righteous place, she is patient and forgiving. She waits for the grace of God and goddess to move through her, striving and grasping for nothing. To be the benevolent leader, to embody the queen, is to settle into deep trust, resolve, and power. The royal queen fears nothing, for divinity itself cradles her heart. And that, my friends, is our reading. How powerful is that? I mean, seriously, where can I find comfort in this? It's like going within and like seeking out your divine feminine and balancing that within yourself. I mean, the whole point of this whole transformation is for us to remember that we are loving light beings. We are light beings having a human experience. We come from love. Of course we have shadow. Of course we have dark. It wouldn't be here. It would have never come to being. We wouldn't have dreamed it into being. It wouldn't have come into being if it wasn't meant to be here. So, you know, don't push aside that dark side, but at the same time, it's like, you know, there's a place for us. It's from West Side Story, and that's kind of what I feel like Spirit's trying to say is that, you know, they've been planning this beautiful world for us for a really long time, and they don't want us to have a fear base around it. They want us to remember our divine, our divinity, like our divine masculine and our divine feminine, and that there's duality in everything, right? Like if we don't have light, we have dark. Like we need both. We need to balance it, and we're going to have ebbs and we're going to have flows, and it's going to happen. Like look at that light behind me, right? So by the time you see this, we'll be pulling out of that darkness. So over the next few weeks, I want you guys pull yourself slowly out of the darkness as the, moon gets brighter and brighter and starts illuminating and putting light on things, right? Do what's good for you. Do what's good for your family, your loved ones. Do what's good for you over this holiday season. You make the choices that you need to make for you. So, some people are happy to be away from, certain family and friends. And so I look at it like this, you guys. Take advantage of this time where you don't have to spend time with your friends and family. And now did you see that? Now you're going to have look at that. The king. Look at that. And look at it. It looks like he has a dark moon in his hand. And it's the number 12. The 1212 portal is coming. A lot more changes are going to come through. Also, I'm curious to let me know how your 1111 went. If you want to comment below, if you did anything special or anything awesome for the 1111 portal. But yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to be coming. And you know what? Oh, look at that. The Judge. And for some of you, your family judges you, your friends judge you, or whatever, you don't need to be around that. Stay in your own castle. Stay in your own world, your own fairy tale. It's nobody's life but yours. And soon you'll be, having your own traditions and your own things where you're like, no, I don't want to spend Christmas with you. I remember when I would feel so lost and sad and depressed if I had nowhere to go on the holidays. And, now it's like, I don't really like to go anywhere on the holidays. I like to be with my loved ones or people or whatever, but I won't force myself to, like, why do we force ourselves to go spend time with people that we don't want to spend time with? Like, why go there just to get drunk or eat shitty food or have a fight, or, you know what I mean? Like, those days are over. Those days are done. And the sooner, like, people start living in their own personal reality, the sooner that, like, this false reality, this, like, controlling world that we were, like, raised to believe was, like, whatever, will be gone. That doesn't mean you can't still, it's like, if you ever watch Sex and the City, it's one of my favorite analogies when Charlotte marries a Jewish guy. And so she's like, I'm going to convert. And he's like, well, you can still, keep, Christmas. You can have a Christmas tree. And she's like, no. She's like, I'm not going to be a meat-eating vegetarian. Those people who are like, I'm a vegetarian, but once in a while they eat meat. It's like, well, you're not really a vegetarian, right? Like, you eat meat. But, it's like, Spirit's not saying, like, give up certain things that you love. Like, that's okay. I mean, the truth is, look into a lot of religious things and how far they go, how much they're connected to actual pagan religions, things that were, like, of the earth. I know for myself, like, now I'm more into Yule. Of course I'm into Christmas, but, like, now it's like, wow, I didn't realize, like, how winter solstice and Yule and, like, what it means to me and all those kind of things. So, do what feels right for you. Do what, resonates with you this holiday season, whatever that is. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, you guys. I love you so much. And if you want to contribute to this channel, all the information is below. If you want to book a reading with me, that information is below as well. And I'll see you next time. Blessed be. Aho.